Mick here, hello friends, welcome to the vlog. As you can see, I'm at home. We're into the second week of coronavirus lockdown, and I've set up a studio at home, some monitors, my computer, UAD interface, and some guitars and amps here at home, with the hope to record some music. So been very inspired by Dan's vlog on putting his EP together. If you haven't watched that, check it out. It's also on our channel. Dan's done some stuff on recording drums and is going through the whole process. As I record this, he hasn't quite got to guitars yet, but it's inspired me to have a go as well. You know, we have this forced period of isolation, so what better to do if you've got a bit of time on your hands than maybe make some music. Although it has taken me over a week to get to having any time on my hands, but there's a few hours here and there, so I've decided I'm going to bring a track to fruition that I came up with about, well, it was in March 2019. Let's get the serious bit out of the way. Regular viewers of TPS and of this vlog in particular, of my vlog in particular, will know that I've struggled with a bit of depression over the last few years. And in fact, March 2019 was the last time I had what you would call a down, you know, like a down. Didn't last very long, but we were in Spain at the time. It was my birthday, and my amazing wife usually takes me away to Spain for my birthday. We have some friends that live up a mountain there, and it's just a very lovely place to be, and we're very lucky to be able to go. Anyway, on this particular occasion, I was in one, and I couldn't get out of it, and it was probably the time where I finally realised that that was what was happening. And I was sat on the veranda, beautiful, couldn't sleep, went and sat. It was, the sun hadn't come up yet, it was early in the morning, and I just sat there with a cup of coffee and was thinking over a lot of stuff. Concurrently, Joey Landreth, Honk, had been showing me and explaining to me some stuff about diatonic theory and harmony, you know, the major scale, if you like, and how it all fits together, and how it's actually the core of all music as I know it anyway. Come on, you haven't written a song in years, maybe now's the time. And it just, the melody came to me, or at least the chorus melody came to me, and the chord progression was something I wanted to work on. So that's the basis of the track. So what I'm going to do now is talk a little bit through how it's built up, how I've decided to go about recording it. I've almost taken the opposite approach to Dan in many respects, in that I'm programming drums. I'm not using any digital guitars. I'm going to mic amps quietly here at home, and let's see how far we get. And the sun's come out, so you may as well hear the basic track. This is just, there's a voice mic here and an acoustic guitar, so you're just going to hear the bare bones of it, right? And the melody that I had in my mind. So remember I was saying about the, that basic diatonic sequence, and how, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fits within the major scale, and the chords that go with that and harmonise it. That was something that Joey was explaining to me, and it really opened up a load of worlds. So anyway, the one that I really was stuck on was the major 7th harmony, so the E flat before E, right? And I just think that's a really beautiful harmony. It's been used in loads of songs. So I was thinking of this, right? And you've probably heard that in a load of songs. Catherine, my wife, immediately said, oh, it sounds like Coldplay. We'll come to that in a bit. Anyway, so, and then I wanted to use the, you know, stay here for a while. You say it's so, I don't know the words yet, for a smile. It's been a while to sunrise, a long long, long way from you. I'm halfway empty and the whole way blue. So that's kind of the bare bones of it. You know, it's that, which is the relative minor of E major, yeah? It's been a while, no. It's still a while to sunrise. I'm a long, long way from you. I'm halfway empty the whole way blue. So it's a really simple melody, and it's the kind of melody you've probably heard in loads of songs, but anyway, we're going to go with it. So that's the bare bones of the song. Catherine pointed out, she said like this. She said, well, it just sounds like Yellow by Coldplay, which I guess maybe it does. The rest of the song's going to make a bit of a difference. So what I'm going to try and do is, instead of playing that, is maybe use some clever delay effect. So maybe I just play right and let the delay fill in the next and do some stereo thing with that, or even just play can't even count it, but basically let the delay do the fill in the other notes, and I think that would probably keep it away from that just, you know, relentless thing. Anyway, we'll see how that transpires, and I'm really interested to get some guitar sounds going and see what works. But before we get to all of that, what I'm going to do is talk you through how I did the structure of the track and how I did the drums and the bass. So let's do that. Let's talk about drums. I've got a screen capture running. You're hearing my voice. I think I can record the audio coming out of the Apollo Twin X quad. And the camera's running, so hopefully everything is recording, and if it's not, I don't know what to say really. Cup of tea. Splendid peanut cookies. These things are off the scale good. I've done my headphones. What I'm going to play you now is a bit of drums, a bit of bass, and some purely guide guitar that I've put down just to see if it's going to work, and then we'll break it down, right? So here we go. Okay, I'm going to turn the guitars off. They are literally DI'd into the Apollo just to see if the kind of part is going to work in the way that I think it's going to sound very different when it's finished. So I'm just going to turn all that off, the guide guitar and the two other guitars, and I'll turn the bass off for the moment as well. So you can just hear the drums, right? Here we go, here's the drums. Okay, for anyone who's not familiar, Dan said in his vlog that he really hates programming drums and he's no good at it. It's not that hard, it just is boring. If you look at this grid on the screen here, basically you open this up in Logic's piano roll, which is part of its MIDI business. Don't ask me about MIDI. The drum kit is this drum kit. And you can change this. There you go. You can change the bass drum to something different, etc. Whatever. And I'll do all that in time. And you can, for example, you can make the bass drum go thumpy or piccolo-y, right? I'll do all that in time when I come to start thinking about what it sounds like rather than just getting the basic pattern in. But if I make this drum track, don't do that. If I make this drum track nice and big on screen, so there you go, it's a bit bigger, and I'll stretch it out. If you look at the whole track as it exists currently, this is the whole track, right? from measure 1 to measure 113. It's at 78 beats per minute. That's the tempo, blah, blah, blah. So these green sections that you can see correspond to different sections of drums. Chorus 1, chorus middle 8, middle 8 2, the breakdown, verse 2.1, etc. Right? If you double click any of these, you get the piano roll editor. And what this is, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 4 bars, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got a 4 measure or a 4 beat counting. I'll show you. Right. Over which I've programmed a fill, and that goes the hi-hats give me the count. So he goes 1, 2, psh, ba-da-ba-doo, right? Which is which is how I talk about drums. So I've decided I want the beginning to go right, and then we're into the main part. These, as you can see here, are hi-hats, right? These here are snare rim shots. That's the kick drum, and that's a snare rim shot edge. So what I've done, here's my, I'm no good, I'm not exactly Mr. Drum Programmer, right? But here are my tips for programming drums. Number 1, if you find you're using the same snare for every single hit, change it. So for example, sometimes I'll use the snare rim shot edge, sometimes I'll use the snare center, and sometimes I'll use the other rim shot edge, which is all accessible here from all your drums on the left hand side. Listen. Right. So, and then what I'll do is vary the velocity. So the snare's going to hit, but don't always have it hitting at, well, I don't know, let's have a look. This one, there you go, that one's at 59, whereas that one's at 80. So I'll do that because that, in my mind, that says this is a drummer playing and he's not hitting, or he or she's not hitting everything, or he or she or they is not hitting everything with force every time, the same force. And then I just, you know, I'm not a drummer, but I do love drums, and I'll sit here and go, or whatever, and I'll try and think about what is possible to play. Like, you know, you can't hit 2 toms with 1 stick at the same time, and you can't hit a ride cymbal and a tom at the same time. So if you think about it like that, then I just went through and actually used this in the writing process to structure and arrange the song, right? So so let's go, oh yeah, right. So to work out the vocal melody, this up here is actually, I played this on the piano just to try and get the most simple vocal melody I could. So remember, you've heard the core of the song already. End of the right. Stay here for a while. Open hats. You say it's easy on you all the time. And that's how I've done the vocal melody, right? And then here comes the chorus. I've forgotten the words. Yeah. A long, long way from you. Halfway empty and the whole way blue. Right? So there'll be a bigger guitar there. So that's it. Just go through, program up all the drums as you see there. And then the only other thing to mention is I've done a quite of an extended middle 8 and breakdown section where the feel changes, right? So it comes out of this section. I'm just trying to remember where we are. get really moody around here. In fact, I'll just put the guide guitar on. This is just to let me know where I am in the song. I literally sat here and DI'd it. To all to be recorded properly later, of course. And then we're going to come into the feel change, right? Oh no, not quite yet. Here we go. Here's the drums. Check this fill out. Shakers. And this will build into like an octave type solo. And I'll turn these other guitars on that I put in just to see if this was going to work as well. Loads of reverb. So what I've got is a stereo thing happening here. So the bass. Yeah, so that'll work. So I'm pretty pleased how that's shaping together. As I say, none of those guitars are final guitars. They're just to see if the process is going to work. Bass, let's have a quick talk about bass. So here you go. Let's just play the drums and the bass together. It's not mixed, obviously. So among my bass playing heroes are Pino Palladino, James Jameson and Dave from the Brothers Landreth. If you can't play bass, here's a bass playing tip for you. Wrap a rag in here. So here's the sound of the world famous genre conquering precision bass. Now, if I play it like that, all that happens is it sounds uneven and rubbish. So I put this in, get it dull sounding. I mean, that might be a bit much. This is obviously very scientific, but... And that just enables me to get a more even note, and actually a tonality that I prefer as well, a bit like if you had flat wounds on it, I guess. So that's the bass, and I just sat there and played it in. And if you listen really carefully, you can hear my hand where I'm moving my hand, and I get loads of string noise, which I may redo the bass if that annoys me enough, but in a way I kind of like it. You get like a... Anyway, get more exciting in the groove bit. Trying to do my best. Try and stay with the kick drum. I actually reprogrammed the kick drum a bit to stay with the bass. And that's just, you know, move it around. Trying to get my best Dave Landreth sitting right behind the beat on it, but... So that's it. That's the drums and bass process. Literally just arrange the track as best I can into intro, verse, chorus, middle eight, breakdown, chorus, end. A bit. and play the bass in as good as I could. I set 2 bass tracks up, one on top of the other, because doing a whole take on bass and getting it right is tough, so I just play until I go wrong, arm the other track, play there, and then at the end I've got 2 tracks of a take that's kind of there or thereabouts, and comp it together, which is what I did. So yeah, so next step is guitars and starting to layer up those guitars. I know what the vocals are doing now, so I might put down a guide vocal just so that I'm not stepping over the vocals with all the guitars, because I want to layer it up with guitars. But yeah, that's where we are. Just a quick reminder of the very basic track. Remember, this is all guides, nothing's finished, nothing's mixed, all the usual excuses, right? Have a listen. The guitar's way too wet. Anyway, doesn't matter. Next up, guitars.